Okay, so today I'm going to talk about virus and viruses. First thing we need to know is that viruses are very small. So here I use my magnet as if it was a virus. So for example, the dot right there would be the virus, and the surrounding is the cell. Same here on the blue, you have the little dot, that's the virus. The rest is the cell. So viruses are small and they're hard to see. They come in different shapes and can affect animals, humans, plants, and even some bacteria. So they do come in, so I do have examples of the different shapes. The first shape that looks like a little geometric shape with legs, it's a bacteriophage. The second that looks like squiggly lines, that's the Ebola virus. And the third one that looks like a little ball with sticky ends, it's the HIV virus. So they have a protein code called capsid that protects their genetic material, which can be either DNA or RNA. So that is what the capsid code looks like. The purple part is the capsid, and it is protecting the genetic material, which is inside in orange. That is your DNA or your RNA. Well, their RNA. Viruses are not alive. They are just packaged codes for a cell host to replicate, which makes them parasitic. In some occasions, the virus will have a membrane envelope, which is right here. The black outline, that is your membrane envelope. Inside you have your capsid code, which is the purple, and inside that is your DNA RNA material in orange. The virus will have a membrane envelope which they steal from the membrane of the host cell. When viruses do this, it makes it really hard for the host cell to notice or identify the virus. Like I showed you above, how small they actually are in compared to the actual cell. Viruses reproduce by sneaking into the host cell, where they attach to the host via their tail fibers, bind receptors, and inject its genetic material, which is DNA or RNA. The virus will then start making copies inside the cell until the cell membrane ruptures and dies. The virus will then begin the process again to infect other cells. This process is called the lytic cycle. Another way viruses attack is by once again sneaking into the host cell, but this time the genetic material stays hidden in the cell. When the cell replicates, the genetic material will also replicate. This is called lysogenic cycle. So this cycle becomes problematic once the virus gets the signal to start the lytic cycle, because now you have all of these other cells that have the virus genetic information within themselves without them even knowing. So once the lytic cycle becomes active, either due to a chemical reaction or some bacteria reaction, all of those infected cells will die. So cold, influenza, rabies, yellow fever, HIV or AIDS, bird and swine flu, Zika, and Ebola are all caused by viruses. Luckily for us, we have white blood cells. These white blood cells will sometimes recognize the virus as an intruder and destroy it before it affects our cells. Other times, our immune system will combat the virus after the infection has begun. Unfortunately, there are times when our immune system cannot destroy the virus fast enough, which results in either permanent damage or even death. Luckily for us, scientists have developed vaccines to combat viruses, which is why vaccinating your kids is very important, in my opinion. So these vaccines combat viruses, and they even have led to eradication of some viruses such as smallpox. On a side note, if you are sick with a virus, antibiotics will not work. Scientists have developed antivirals which will work against viruses. For example, abacavir and lamivudine are antivirals that help prolong those affected by HIV. So, yeah, this is my video about viruses.